going on, everyone? So, Lakers exploring several options in order to land a center, right? Lakers want a clear-cut starting level, looking to kind of go the younger route, the foundation center, right? Somebody that you can have going forward, and then they want kind of a more veteran guy off the bench. You hear Clint Capella, Brook Lopez, right? And to me, that'd be ideal. I've said for months now that they need two centers, right? You need a clear-cut, this is our starter, and then clear-cut backup. And then if you want to have, a Christian Coloco or Trey Jamison or Jackson Hayes, it's kind of like that third big, the guy that, you can play in spots or a guy gets the night off, right? Give you that flexibility as far as the center position goes, right? To go from essentially no centers to like, hey, here's several centers. That alone, I think, would do wonders for this Lakers team. Obviously, they have several other needs and things that they need to address, but just solving the center position alone would do wonders. But Bobby Marks proposed a trade for Khaman Maluach, who is the Duke center, which many of you might know. I'm a big Duke guy, grew up, loving Duke. And so, anybody from Duke, I will gladly take. And given that Maluach is a guy that comes from Duke, but is actually looked at as a potential franchise center. And he is expected to kind of be in the top 10, but potentially closer to the end of the top 10. So that would require the Lakers to trade and move into the top 10. And so Bobby Marks presented a trade package that would involve the Brooklyn Nets, the Los Angeles Lakers, and the Portland Trail Blazers. Kind of want to talk about it. Top of talking about it, of course, hear your thoughts and opinions, so let me know down in the comments, but let's get right into it. So the Brooklyn Nets would get the number 11 pick via Portland and the 2031 unprotected first via Los Angeles. So they're getting the sole first round pick that the Lakers have, plus they're getting number 11, and then the Los Angeles Lakers would get the number 8 pick via Brooklyn and the number 36 pick from Brooklyn. So from the Brooklyn side of things, they are going from 8 to 11, and they get a future first, right? Which, how big of a gap is that? How much does the Nets view guys in the top 10 compared to right outside of the top 10? That could be a big difference. That could be something that impacts this potential trade. If they're kind of like, hey, guys that we would potentially take at number 8 could be at number 11. So, let's get the extra first for the future. Like that could be very beneficial for us for future trade packages or whatnot. Also depends on what, Brooklyn's looking for, right? Do they want Maluach, right? Are they like, hey, that could be our franchise center. We'll just trade you Nick Claxton type thing, or we'll trade Nick Claxton elsewhere, right? Like, so all of these factors would go into play. But I do think, basically to go from number 8, you're dropping down 3 spots, but you're also getting a future first in order to do so. And Brooklyn still has, an abundance of picks. Now they are trading the number 36 pick, but they'd still have, 4 firsts in this upcoming draft. So they'd have more than enough to kind of replenish their assets and then also get future assets. So from the Brooklyn Nets side of things, the only question I have is just like, is Brooklyn okay with going from 8 to 11, right? Are there guys at 11 that they value that are, like, is there a guy that could potentially be at number 8 that they value more than anybody at 11 and a future first, right? So to me, I think if anyone was to say no, it would be the Brooklyn Nets, that they'd be like, nah, like we're good on that. But you never know, right? If Brooklyn's willing to do it, this is actually a trade I could see potentially getting done. And then from the Lakers side of things, again, they would get number 8 pick from Brooklyn and number 36. They'd also would keep, based on this, the 55th pick, because Portland would get Dalton Connect, who was, the 17th pick in last year's draft, and then also the 2027 top 4 protected first via New York, right? So they're getting, another first as well as Dalton Connect. So again, they like, to me, that's actually really good value for them, for essentially, trading the 11th pick. So kind of being the third team in the mix of this. So Portland, you can make an argument Portland makes out more than anybody in this deal, because you get a young guy in Dalton Connect, who was, a first round pick last year, as well as, potential top 4 pick in New York. So, that could make some sense from them. As for the Lakers, again, number 8 pick and then the 36th pick. Now, this would be only if Maluach is on the board, right? That's what Bobby Marks, he said, it should be noted that this trade is contingent on whether Duke's Khaman Maluach is on the board when when Brooklyn is picking. So again, that's something to keep in mind. If he's not on the board, then this is something that might not fall through. Or, again, maybe the Lakers, there's a guy at number 8 that they really like that maybe you still pull off this trade. Because again, you would still be getting the number 8 pick and the number 36 pick, right? That's kind of the key is that, so you'd basically get 3 guys in this draft between the number 8 pick, the 36th pick, and potentially the 55th pick, right? Unless the Lakers end up pulling off some other moves or some other trades. So, I mean, even if Maluach isn't on the board, right? Like, depending on who's there and how high the Lakers value guys, right? This could be kind of a long-term move. I mean, you still have to go get other guys, veteran guys, but you have to do that regardless, right? So again, let's say, and stick to the script here, right? Let's say that the Lakers are able to draft Maluach, right? That's great and all, but you still need a proven center, right? It's very possible he comes in immediately and has a Derek Lively year, right? Because he's athletic, he's long, he's lengthy, right? He's versatile, can be that floor runner, that lob threat, also protect the paint, defend a bit in space, right? So he's a guy that absolutely, maybe just because he's playing alongside Luka, immediately plug and play. He might be a guy that, is a double guy right out the gate or close to a double guy. Maybe he's, 10 and 8 right out the gate because he's playing alongside Luka Doncic. Right? But I would still, if I'm the Lakers, go get a Clint Capella or a Brook Lopez or somebody like that if you needed to, right, you could start in a pinch or, at least have in a backup role to where, those big games, those big moments, right? You're not relying on an inexperienced guy that's coming in and you're asking him to basically do everything, right? Especially in the Western Conference against some of these, just think of all the centers that are in the Western Conference. Obviously Jokic, but I mean beyond that, Zach Edey and Domantas Sabonis, and you got all these guys that Alperen Sengun, right, is another guy that comes to mind. All these guys that are skilled, that are big, that are imposing, that are physical, right? Like the West has a plethora of big men and centers that, it might take some time to kind of adjust to that, get as far as like just being the lob threat and floor runner, like, again, I could see him being easily probably a 10-point a game guy, right? Just, again, hey, just play a role, right? Like stay in the spots that we tell you to stay in and just be ready at all times for that lob from Luka. And Luka's probably going to get him a handful of buckets, especially over the course of the regular season, is going to get him, X amount of points every night. So like the scoring element of it, I'm not really worried about. It's just all the other intangibles, right? The defense, the shot blocking, right? Like how is his timing? Is he starting to get into foul trouble too heavily because, he's adjusted, he's impatient or, he needs better discipline or whatever, because it's very different going from college to the NBA, right? And players are more crafty and are able to finish over bigs better than, in college and stuff. So all of these things would play a role in a factor. So no matter what, you have to go get another big man, right? You have to get somebody that has some, experience, has some seasoning as far as being a guy in the league, right? I don't want to go with Maluach and then go and it's like, okay, Jackson Hayes is now our backup. Or, we're going Christian Koloko and Trey Jamison, and then there's our 3 bigs. Like, that, to me, would be, like, you're just putting a lot of faith into a rookie center. Which, again, we've seen rookies have excellent seasons. We've seen rookies have impacts. We've seen Laker rookies win championships, right? Like, and play center and do all that crazy stuff. So again, you never know until you're in it. It's just a very big risk for a team that just, in my opinion, can't afford to risk specifically at the center position, right? Like, like the center position is the one thing they have to solve, right? I don't want the Lakers to just solve the center position and that's it, right? Like go get a Clint Capella and a Nick Claxton and call it a day and just be like, okay, we're good. We're in, But even if they did just do that, they would be light years better than they were last year just because, again, they didn't have that position solved. So just solving the center position would do wonders for the Lakers and just put them in so much better position, even if they did nothing else. Again, I'm not saying that they can't do nothing else or that they should do nothing else. Right? They still have a lot of other things that they could do, but center position is just such a big need for them and such a big hole that they have to fill. I just don't think that they can risk it on, hey, here's a rookie center and then, some unproven guys that we're developing, right? I just think you need to get that proven, hey, game 7 of the NBA Finals and it's a tie game with a minute left. I probably don't want my rookie center out there, and having to put him in those pressure situations. Again, maybe he's fine, but I'd like the luxury of hey, we could go with a Brook Lopez who's won a championship and been there and done that and knows what it takes and is comfortable in these moments, or even a Clint Capella that has multiple playoff runs and deep playoff runs and has been in game 7s and all that stuff and understands what it takes, right? I would just prefer that. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion. Pass question to you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot. So we enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.